Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through all the noise and, really deliver those essential nuggets you need to stay informed. Today, we're plunging into the travel industry. It's incredibly dynamic, constantly evolving, everything from hotel loyalty, how you earn points, to, how you even find your next vacation spot. It's all being reshaped as we speak. Okay, so for this deep dive, we've gathered a really fascinating collection of sources. We're talking recent reports, industry analyses, some cutting-edge studies, all laying out the latest shifts in travel. Our mission, really, is to pull out the most important bits, the surprising facts, the key insights, basically give you a shortcut to understanding where travel is headed.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating here, I think, is how all these different pieces connect. You look at changes in loyalty, these big mergers, AI impacting how we find things.
Right?
But they're actually deeply interconnected. They're fundamentally changing the whole travel landscape.
That interconnectedness is such a key point.
Absolutely. And speaking of shifts, what's maybe the most surprising development you're seeing, especially in an area like hotel loyalty, which, a lot of people might think is pretty settled?
Well, I point to the Journey loyalty platform. That's a real game changer. They just secured, $7.7 million in seed funding, which is quite a bit. And its significance is huge because they're building loyalty programs specifically for independent hotels, even short-term rentals. This directly challenges the big chain programs, which historically haven't worked so well for the smaller guys. It's really shifting the power dynamic.
And it's not just an idea, right? They're already working with over 1,300 properties, offering some really impressive perks, too.
Yeah.
Guaranteed suite upgrades, flexible check-ins, you can use points right away. Plus, you earn 5x points booking direct. But the thing I found really interesting was the AI personalization. How does that actually work, using guest preferences, even social media? Yeah, that's the really groundbreaking part. It gives independent hotels tools that, honestly, only the huge global chains had before. Journey's AI looks at guest preferences, yes, and even interests they show on social media to tailor the experience. Small hotels just couldn't do that kind of deep analysis before. So it means they can offer truly personalized stays, build a much deeper connection with the guest from booking onwards.
So it's way beyond just collecting points. It's about a custom experience. But, and this is important, Journey requires hotels to be exclusive to their platform. That seems like a really big decision for an independent hotel, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a significant commitment. An independent hotel signing up is basically betting that Journey can drive enough direct bookings, enough loyalty to make it worth skipping other platforms.
Yeah.
It's definitely a calculated risk. But, if it works, the payoff could be higher margins and much stronger guest relationships.
And this whole focus on direct bookings, especially for independents, it really highlights this bigger battle going on, doesn't it? What our sources are calling the hotel rate integrity crisis.
Yes. The H1 2025 World Parity Monitor lays it out pretty starkly. OTA's online travel agencies, they undercut the hotel's own direct rates in, get this, 75% of searches. That's up from 70% just before. And for hotels, their individual lose rate, so how often they get undercut, went from 30% to 33% year on year. That hits the bottom line hard.
75%.
Right.
Wow. And it's even worse on mobile, right?
It is. The numbers show OTAs undercut direct rates in 38% of mobile searches versus 31% on desktop.
Yeah, you can see how that happens. People just instinctively pull up an app, maybe Expedia or Booking.com. They might not even think to check the hotel's own site first. It shows how deep this crisis runs, even in our habits.
Exactly. And what's interesting, too, is that not all OTAs are the same here. The smaller ones, names like Traveloro, Bluepillow, they undercut hotels more than half the time, whereas the big players, like Booking.com, actually keep their lose rates under 21%. It suggests maybe the larger OTAs see more value in maintaining a sort of cooperative balance with hotels. Or maybe they just have better tech for managing rates.
Okay, so it sounds pretty tough for hotels, but are there ways they can fight back? Any silver linings?
There are, definitely. The data shows hotels do best when people book far in advance. They actually beat the OTAs 51% of the time for bookings made 6 to 9 months out. And they also do well with the family segment, a 50% beat rate there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you connect that to the bigger picture, it shows hotels can compete. It's just about being smart, targeting specific groups, pushing those early bookings, not just a blanket approach.
Like strategic focus. Okay, let's shift gears a bit from individual bookings to the corporate side, business travel. We're seeing some massive consolidation there. Let's talk about the Amex GBT CWT merger.
Yeah, this is a really big one. American Express Global Business Travel acquiring CWT for $540 million. And it's especially significant because the U.S. Department of Justice just dropped its antitrust suit back on July 29th, 2025. So there's a major hurdle cleared for creating this Oh, this dominant force in business travel.
And the scale is just huge, isn't it? It combines Europe's largest and third largest TMC's travel management companies, creating operations in over 140 countries. What does that mean financially, strategically?
Financially, they're projecting about $155 million in synergies, cost savings, revenue gains, that sort of thing. And CWT shareholders get about 10% of the new combined company, so they have a vested interest. Strategically, well, it creates an undeniable powerhouse. Hard to compete with that scale in the corporate travel world.
And this merger had quite a journey itself through regulations, didn't it?
It did, yeah. Over a year of scrutiny, the UK Competition Authority, the CMA, actually blocked it initially. Then they finally approved it back in March 2025.
So what does this mean for businesses, the ones actually using these DMCs?
Well, industry consultants are basically expecting a shakeup. More activity in TMC procurement as companies reassess. It really raises the question of how this consolidation changes things for them. Choices, pricing, the kind of service and tech they get. It definitely sets a new benchmark for what a large-scale TMC looks like.
Fascinating stuff. Okay, now let's pivot again. How do travelers actually find travel content these days? Or how does content find them? This brings us to this idea of interest media. What exactly is that?
So interest media, the concept Gary Vaynerchuk talks about a lot, it represents a pretty fundamental shift. Think about moving away from a world where you consciously follow specific accounts or brands you like, to a world where algorithms push content to you, based purely on what they think you're interested in, what you watch, what you engage with. Before, brands built follower lists. Now, their content needs to be good enough for the algorithm to find you. It completely changes the game.
Right, like TikTok, that's a perfect example, isn't it? It's all about engagement, not how many followers you have. So smaller creators, even small travel companies, can suddenly compete with the big guys if their video takes off. So if I'm running a travel business, how do I play in this new world?
You have to adapt. That's the key. Move from what we call pull strategies, getting people to come find your stuff, to push strategies, where you focus on making content that the algorithm wants to push out. Success really hinges now on creating high-quality, super engaging stuff that gets views on its own merit. Not just relying on your existing follower base, your content has to earn its distribution.
But the tricky part, I guess, is that you don't really control those algorithms, do you? It feels like you're kind of at the mercy of whatever TikTok or Instagram decides to prioritize that week.
That's exactly the challenge. It's the flip side. It requires a shift in thinking. You focus less on controlling the distribution and more intensely on the quality and the relevance of the content itself. You can't gain the algorithm long term,
Yeah.
but you can control the quality of what you feed into it.
And this idea, interest media, it connects straight into how AI is changing search, right? Specifically, this Google AI summaries impact.
Yes. There was a Pew Research Center study, March 2025, looked at about 900 U.S. adults. It showed a really dramatic shift in how people use search. When those AI summaries appear at the top of Google results, people only click the traditional blue links 8% of the time. Compare that to 15% when there's no AI summary.
Wow, that's almost half. So people are getting their answers from the summary and just stopping. And get this, links inside the AI summary, they get clicked only 1% of the time. 1%.
Exactly. It changes browsing behavior significantly. Users end their search session. They just stop browsing 63% more often when they see an AI summary. That's 26% ending their session versus 16% for traditional results. People find the answer in the summary and they're done. They don't click through to explore more. For anyone in travel marketing or content, I mean, this data should be setting off alarm bells. Your old SEO playbook. It's not enough. You need your content to be the answer in that AI box.
And these summaries aren't just occasional things either. They show up in 18% of all Google searches.
That's right. And even more often for longer questions or things starting with who, what, when, why, typical research queries.
And where is Google getting this summary info from?
Well, the study found the big sources feeding these AI summaries are Wikipedia, YouTube, and Reddit. They account for about 15% of the source material cited. So if you connect that to the bigger picture, it's a profound shift. How we consume information, and crucially, how businesses, how travel providers can even get found anymore. You're basically competing to become the summarized truth.
Okay, wow. So let's try and tie this all together. What does it all mean? We've talked about new loyalty models like Journey shaking things up for independent hotels, this fierce ongoing battle over rate parity between hotels and OTAs. Huge consolidation in business travel with the Amex CWT deal, creating these massive players. And then this game-changing impact of AI and interest media, totally altering how we find and consume travel information.
It really paints a picture of incredibly rapid change. Everything's moving so fast. And going back to what we said at the start, how interconnected it all is. Changes in one area ripple through the others. It really pushes you, I think, to think more critically about how information reaches you, especially about travel, and who's shaping that information. The whole landscape is being reimagined.
Reimagined. That's a great word for it.
Yeah.
And maybe that leaves us with a final thought, something for you, the listener, to chew on. As AI increasingly becomes the main way we get information, and interest media algorithms shape what we discover, are our travel choices going to become more curated by machines, less about our own active searching? And what do we gain or maybe lose in that shift? Something to think about. Keep exploring and definitely stay curious.